Hi, everybody. We're going to begin our conversation this week about the Constitution by talking about all of the different things that the Constitution does. We call all of these different things that the Constitution does the five fundamental features of the Constitution. So as we said already in this book, the most basic thing that all constitutions do is they create government. Remember, we said that every state has its own constitution, every country has its own constitution, and the Constitution of the United States does this basic thing as well. So, the first, number one, fundamental feature of the Constitution is that it creates our government, and it also creates the rules that our government must adhere to. So, our Constitution is divided up into articles. Just like a book is divided into chapters, our Constitution is divided into what are called articles. Article 1 creates Congress and the rules that Congress has to follow. Article number 2 creates the presidency and the rules under which the presidency must function. And Article 3 creates the federal court system and the Supreme Court. We will talk about each one of these articles individually in separate classes. So like for our class on Congress, we will discuss specifically Article 1 of the Constitution, for example. So we're going to get more deeply into these different sections. But for now, understand the first fundamental feature of the Constitution is it creates government and the rules under which government functions. That's number one. Number two, it regulates the relationship between the federal government and the individual states and the states with other states. This is where federalism is found in the Constitution. We are going to have a clip, one of our clips after this one, is going to deal specifically with where federalism is found in the Constitution and how federalism is created through the Constitution. But just as a broad feature of the Constitution, understand that it regulates the relationship between the federal government and the states with other states. And also, just to remind you, last week's material, we defined federalism as an organization or a system of government in which power is shared between a large government and smaller units of government. So in the United States, that large unit of government is our federal government, and those smaller units of government are the states. So that's the second fundamental feature of the Constitution. The third fundamental feature of the Constitution is that it protects our civil liberties. Civil liberties, and we will have an entire class on civil liberties, civil liberties are protections from government. That's what civil liberties are. Most of our civil liberties are found in a document called the Bill of Rights. The Bill of Rights is the first 10 amendments to the Constitution. And we will have an entire class on civil liberties and the Bill of Rights, and it's a lot of stuff to talk about. So don't worry, we'll have plenty of conversations about civil liberties. And the third fundamental feature, rather the fourth, fundamental feature of the Constitution is that it protects our civil rights. Civil rights and civil liberties are two very different subjects. Civil liberties are protections from government, whereas civil rights are guarantees of equal protection by government and equal treatment by government. That's what civil rights are. Now, when it comes to the Constitution and civil rights, the most important part of the Constitution is the 14th Amendment. And just as we're going to have a whole class on civil liberties, we will also have an entire class on civil rights as well. So we will get deep into the 14th Amendment. Don't you worry. And then finally, the fifth fundamental feature of the Constitution is that it regulates the relationship between government and religion. It does so through two separate clauses. Now, there's a word that we haven't heard yet in our class, and that word is clause. A clause simply means a group of words. That's what a clause is. Perhaps you've heard that term in your English class, a dependent clause and an independent clause. So that term, again, simply just means a group of words. So by saying that there are two clauses in the Constitution that deal with the relationship between government and religion, all we're saying is there are two areas where there are groups of words that regulate the relationship between government and religion. And these groups of words are called clauses, and they have special names. The first is called the Establishment Clause. And the Establishment Clause is what protects us from government-established religion. And I'm paraphrasing here, but the Establishment Clause says that Congress cannot create a religion, or it cannot establish a religion. And that is called the Establishment Clause. The second clause that regulates the relationship between government and religion is called the Free Exercise Clause. The Free Exercise Clause is what protects your freedom to exercise or to practice the religion of your choice. That's called the Free Exercise Clause. So, both of those clauses are found in the First Amendment. And we will, when we have our class on civil liberties, refer back to these different clauses, the Establishment Clause and the Free Exercise Clause. So again, that list of the fundamental features of the Constitution. Number one, it creates the branches of government and the rules under which they must adhere. Number two, it regulates the relationship between the federal government and the states with other states. This is where federalism is found in our Constitution. Number three, it protects our civil liberties. Those are freedoms from government. It protects our civil rights. That means equal treatment by and equal protection of government. And then 5, it regulates the relationship between government and religion. And we said it does so by creating 2 clauses. One is the Establishment Clause, and one is the Free Exercise Clause. Now think about these 5 different features of the Constitution for a moment. Maybe watch this video again. Make sure you understood all this stuff before just jumping into the next clip. And as always, if you have any questions, make sure to email me. Or perhaps you want to go back to that forum that I posted in which I said, write out your constitutional questions here, and I will answer those questions through another video. All right, so see you soon on clip number 2. Okay.